Hi guys, welcome to today's video. In today's I'm going to be talking about the new Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin. And whenever they said this one was a matte velvet skin finish, I was like, that sounds interesting and I want to try that one out. It is not completely matte, it has a different finish to it, which is why I was interested in it, because I love a very good completely full coverage matte foundation, but since I have dry skin it doesn't always work. So this one, since it had a little bit of a different finish to it, I really wanted to try it. So I first tried it with the beauty blender. I wanted to see how it would apply like that, which is probably one of my favorite ways to apply foundation. So I tried it with that one first, and I did with the beauty blender, so it was damp. So from the very first dot that you see there, you can tell right away that it is completely full coverage. It is a full-on 100% full coverage foundation. Like sometimes I'm a little iffy, like maybe it's a little medium to full, or maybe it's medium that you can build up. No, this one is completely full coverage, and you can tell from the very first little dots that I applied. So I went ahead and I applied it everywhere and also around my neck, but I still feel like this foundation is almost like a perfect match for me. It was such a good color. I'm actually wearing the color Y255, and just so you know, every single time that I do a foundation review, I leave in the description box a list of other foundations that I am, and then I also put it on with the brush. I wanted to try it with my flat kabuki brush, which has been my favorite brush to use right now. This one is the Sigma Flat Kabuki F80, and I use this so much with all of my foundations now, and they always look so good. So lately I've been like, is it the foundations that are really good and they just blend out easily, or is it my brush? Because this is the one that I've been using lately. Since it is thick and it is full coverage, by the way, it is not thin at all. It's not runny. It is kind of like a paste almost, but it doesn't feel as pasty as like the Kat Von D full coverage foundation, because from the last time that I ever tried that foundation, it was really thick. So it's not like that, but it's also not liquidy. I think the Fenty one is kind of liquidy. This one's not. This one's more like a paste, and it was easy to blend out with the brush. I didn't have any trouble with it. The finish was just as good as with the beauty blender, so I was very happy about that. And then today I also put it on. I applied it first with the beauty blender, and then I was gonna do this side with the brush only, but I ended up having to put some of the product from one side of my face to the other because I applied way too much. And then I started blending it out with the brush on this side. So today I did two different things, and the finish is exactly the same. I don't see any difference at all. I feel like it looks really good on both sides. And I applied this foundation around 12. Once I was done with my eyeshadow and stuff, I applied it after my eyeshadow today. And right now it is 4:23. So I've been wearing it just for a few hours, for 4 hours. And I feel like it looks exactly the same as whenever I applied it. I have gone outside, I've done things here and there, and I don't feel like the foundation moves at all. And then the past 2 days that I did wear it, the time that I wore it with the beauty blender and with the brush, it lasted me all day. So I haven't seen any problem with it. I don't see any sliding around with this foundation. And I did already wear my glasses from the time that I stopped filming to right now that I started. And the sides of my nose are gone a little bit, but not as much as I've seen with other foundations. And it happens sometimes it doesn't. And lately I have not been baking my under eyes. I've just been using this makeup. I've used the Milk Makeup Powder because I'm also testing this one out. And I haven't been baking. I've just been wearing the powder just normal, just like a nice little light layer of it. And the foundation has been staying. So I am really happy with this product. It feels like this foundation is one of those that like stick on to your face and doesn't slide around. So I can't say 100% sure, like, yes, you know, for oily skin, this one works for you, because the only area that gets oily for me is around my nose, and it's been looking good. So that's why I say that I think it would, but don't take my word for it. And just so you know, just swatch it at the store, just so you know it is full coverage. Now, does everybody need a completely full coverage finish? No. But if you like it and you want to try this one out, I really recommend it. It feels so comfortable on the face. It does not feel hard or cakey or like stiff, and it doesn't feel dry on my skin. Even though it's a matte foundation, it does not feel like it's like other foundations. Normally they get really dry on this area, and just like sometimes in weird areas, like even around my forehead, it just looks a little flaky. And I can tell you this so many times that a lot of foundations that are matte do not look that great on dry skin, just because it can look a little flaky or it can look a little spotty and it catches on to like the dry patches. I do not see it happening with this one, so I can confidently say that it works good with really dry skin because my skin is really dry. So I didn't really show it to you at all, but it's this little squeeze tube, and all it does is it squeezes out. It doesn't have a pump or anything, and it is 1 ounce. Now what I do want to mention also is what I use before applying my foundation, because I do feel like this little product right here has been making a difference with my skin since it's super dry. This one is the Becca Skin Love Glow Elixir, and I've been using this one every single time before my foundation, and I feel like it works really good. And then the first 2 times that I applied the foundation, I used this one. This one is the Too Faced Hangover RX, and it is a very hydrating primer. And then today I use the CoverGirl TruBlend Skin Smoothing, and it works fine with both of them. I mean, I don't see a problem with it. It hasn't been that many hours, but it didn't apply any different. It didn't feel like it was sliding around or anything, and so far it's looking good. So I mean, for sure I can tell you that with this one it works fine. There's someone walking outside. Don't forget to check the description box if you're interested in seeing other foundation shades that I do use. Now I have a few right here that I want to show you some swatches of, just so you can get a better idea in a visual way, not just in the description box. But the first one here is Peach Perfect, and then this one is a Comfort Matte Foundation, so I would say it's very similar, kind of like a similar natural finish to the Matte Velvet Skin. And then the next one is Natasha Denona, which is also a matte foundation. And then we have the TruBlend Matte Made by CoverGirl. Then the fourth one down, it is the Benefiit Hello Happy Soft Blur Foundation. That one is not a matte foundation. It's also not a full coverage foundation, but I just wanted to give you an idea on the shade that I am, which is number 3. And then lastly is the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin. Of course, they're not all the same shade. Sometimes they do end up being a little too dark for me or a little too light for me, but I can make it work. If it's too dark, concealer helps, and if it's too light, then bronzer helps. So it also all depends, and they don't have to be exactly the same because I change too. So sometimes I'm a little bit tanner, sometimes I'm a little bit lighter. It just also depends. So I'm okay with having different shades, and if I needed to mix them, I could do that, which I rarely mix foundations. It's like I just go with that one and I make it work. So yeah, they're not exactly the same, but you can see my shade. Like, you can kind of get an idea on what shade I am. So that is pretty much it for this review. Those are my thoughts on this new product. If you've tried it and you have oily skin, I'd love to know if it worked out for you, so that way other people can see it in the comment section. But yeah, that is pretty much it for today. I hope you guys found it helpful, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.